Dr. Russ Greenfield, is an integrative oncologist. I had no idea what an integrative oncologist was or what it was going to mean. And then I come to find out that it is about how to integrate oncology and still have a life while you're going through it. He is the lead physician and integrative oncologist in a cancer center, Novat. Let's see, I'm just like trying to scan through here, doctor, and how can you, like, they didn't spell it out so I can see it. Is the lead physician, integrative oncology, Weissteiger Cancer Center, Novant Health, and senior physician consultant at the Office of Patient-Centered Care and Cultural Transformation for the Veteran Health Administration. He completed his residency training, emergency at UCLA, and he was in Charlotte, and he's no longer my integrative oncologist. So like, there's my disclosure slide, because he moved. But he does make a fantastic cup of green tea. And welcome, Dr. Greenfield.
Thank you very much, Terry. And it is nothing less than an honor to be before all of you in this way. And so I want to say really how grateful I am to be here. What I hope to do in our time together is to share with you some of the ideas that honestly I've heard from my patients that have been beneficial for them. There are all manner of options with regards to some of the ways we can get information about what might be helpful to us, whether it be from a conventional perspective, from a complementary, even alternative medicine perspective. And from the get-go, I think it's important to acknowledge how overwhelming some of this can be. I mean, Eric was speaking about his wife and all the work with regards to research and things like that. That's one major component of all of this. But so often the equation that faces us in the midst of this, it looks like an either or. Either we're going to do conventional medicine or we're going to do this complementary alternative medicine stuff. And the two sides, if you will, just don't talk to one another. And that leaves us very stressed and often overwhelmed because we get a notebook from our conventional physicians and all these appointments. The internet says something different. This book says something. Our friends are giving us things. The television show says something else, and it's wildly overwhelming. And opportunities like this with meetings with KRAS, to me, this is an opportunity for all of us to pause together and just take a moment and exhale and see, okay, what are some reasonable, rational ways that we might be able to better take care of ourselves, both during treatment and after, in ways that don't add to the overwhelm, but actually are life affirming and give us the opportunity to feel like we have some sense of control in the midst of times that often feel like they're completely out of control. So in this moment, it is an opportunity, if you like, certainly take notes if you want to, et cetera. But I'm just going to go through some things that the people that I've had the chance to sit across have shared with me with what has been beneficial about what we've spoken about. I usually tell folks that when we have the opportunity to meet together, there's anywhere from 3 to 25 different things that any one of us might benefit from were we to participate in some complementary alternative modalities. But if I offer any one of the people I'm sitting with 10, 12, 15 different things to do, it adds to the overwhelm. It makes for more stress. And frankly, folks aren't going to be able to do this. I have a number of people that I meet with who say, Russ, I want to do all of this because I really want to optimize my health and well-being. And while I understand that, I strongly recommend against it, because usually when folks do that, within a week or 10 days, they're pretty toasty and they're like, I can't do any of this. And so they leave the entire program to the side. What I would ask you to do again is take this moment to pause and take in some of the things that we're going to talk about and just think about which aspects of this might actually be beneficial for you. Remembering that each program that we talk about for folks coming through the door is individualized for them, for their preferences, for their family, for their unique circumstances, and then trying to make it work within their lifestyle together with the great conventional medical care that they are getting. So some of the topics that come up we're going to talk about now include, for example, diet. And it's seemingly everybody wants to know, how should I eat during treatment? What's a good anti-cancer diet after treatment, et cetera? And again, there are all manner of experts out there saying all different kinds of things around this. Remember, first and foremost, from my perspective, food should be a source of joy and not a source of fear. And all too often, especially when we go to the internet or some books that are out there, food becomes a source of fear. As an example, we often hear sugar feeds cancer, and that makes us, really nervous and scared. And a lot of us like sweets, and we're like, oh my gosh, sugar feeds cancer. I have to cut all cancer out of my diet. All sugar out of my diet. And to be honest with you, you actually can't do that, because most foods ultimately get turned into sugar in the body in the form of glucose, glucose being the main foodstuff, the main energy source for organs like our brain, our heart, our muscles, etc. And so you need sugar to live a healthy life. It's simply that we eat too much of it, and often that we eat it in highly processed forms. So when talking about diet overall, we want it to be a source of joy for you, a source of sustenance, a source of health for you. With that in mind, the occasional splurge on something that may not be quite so healthy is not only something that we think is okay, we recommend it. And the reason is because there are some foods and some activities that might be good for our physical body, and that there are others that help us to be with our friends, with our loved ones, that actually sustain our spirits too. So the occasional splurge, if tonight's a night for, I don't know, pizza and ice cream, have a really good time, and then come back and say, all right, that wasn't all that healthy, but man, we had a good time. And I was engaged in life with friends, and I had fun, and I'm going to eat healthier over the next week or so, and then let's do that again. So we want this not to be so much prescriptive as an opportunity, an offering. Generally speaking, what we recommend is that we try to lean towards a pattern of eating that is what we term anti-inflammatory. Inflammation under ordinary circumstances is actually a really, really important part of a properly functioning immune system. However, when inflammation sets up shop where it doesn't need to be, or if it persists longer than is necessary, it may do damage to otherwise healthy cells. So we want to keep inflammation in that healthy range. So what are some of the easiest ways to actually damp down very inflammatory states? Diet and stress management are some of the best too. And we'll talk about both of those briefly. So what does an anti-inflammatory pattern of eating look like? The closest thing to it probably is a Mediterranean style of eating. So that's actually more fish than red meat. It's more vegetables than even fruit. It is whole grains. It's healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, these types of things. It's not saying you have to go vegetarian, vegan, although a plant-based diet does look like a healthy way to go for many, many people. So you want to work with your nutrition team. You want to work with your family, because this is a family engagement, especially around food, and see what might work for you in this regard. There are a couple of really great books out there that I recommend for folks, especially for people who are in the midst of treatment. One book to keep in mind is written by a woman named Holly Clegg, C-L-E-G-G. I have no arrangement with these folks. I'm just telling you stuff that I tell the folks I get a chance to meet with. And that book is called Eating Well Through Cancer. And part of what I really like about that book is they spend a lot of time on what meals might you eat, or what soups might you drink, or what beverages might you enjoy if you're having this side effect or this side effect from treatment, those types of things. So again, taking control where we can in the midst of something that feels a little bit out of control. Another good book that you might take a look at is by Rebecca Katz, and that's The Cancer Fighting Kitchen. Now, that book is also excellent, but it really is a cookbook. And so some folks I meet with say there's just too many ingredients for some people, but they're healthy and the meals are really delicious. She also has a website called Healing Kitchens that provides some similar recipes that are far fewer in number with regards to the number of ingredients that, again, a lot of our patients really like. Now, you will hear all manner of things out there. You'll hear about fasting. You'll hear about all different kinds of ketogenic diet. You'll hear about all different kinds of things. Again, we want this to be relatively easy for you, and we want it to be safe. And so for a moment there, I want to speak with you about fasting. So there are all different types of fasting programs. There's time-restricted eating. There's modified fasting diets, there's alternate day, intermittent fasting, there's all these different kinds of things. And it's okay to speak with your nutrition team and your oncology team or your integrative medicine team around fasting and whether it might be good for you. But there are two precautions at a minimum that you want to take into account here. If you are losing weight in a way that is not healthy for you, if you're not able to maintain a healthy weight when you are losing weight, fasting is not a good way to go. And there is the potential that if we fast extensively, we can become malnourished, which makes our opportunity to respond to treatment much less so. So there are some intriguing aspects to fasting, but we are very, very conservative with our recommendations around this because we want to make certain that people are safe and healthy while they're receiving their treatment and afterwards. A lot of different resources around this type of thing. It's intriguing, it's interesting, but the information is not yet definitive. And so I ask you to be cautious around that. Remember, we want you to enjoy food and feed yourself foods that sustain you not only physically, but spiritually and socially as well. When speaking of food, we always talk about exercise. Not everybody can exercise in the midst of all that is going on for them, but we ask that they engage in some type of movement, if at all possible. Many folks who are just relatively a few weeks out from their surgeries may be in discomfort or may have difficulty moving in certain ways. There are certain forms of physical therapy that are even perhaps more beneficial than straight on physical therapy. And one to keep in mind that you may ask about is called myofascial release. Myofascial release focuses on the soft tissues in the body with a belief that the soft tissues are all interconnected. And that again, we focus on balance in this regard because in integrative medicine, we actually define health as balance. So myofascial release, first and foremost, that you should know about is it's really gentle, and yet it's very, very effective. So if that initial phase of physical therapy didn't get you where you want to go, you might look into myofascial release physical therapy. You might look into acupuncture. Chinese medicine is a complete system unto itself. Acupuncture being just one small component of that. But what's nice about acupuncture is that, amongst many other things, it's individualized to you. It actually is taking a look at your energies, your chi, and seeing if any of that might be blocked, excessive in any way. When you go to meet with, we call them a TCM practitioner, traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. They will get your story, but really the first thing they're going to do is they're going to look at you. What's your color like? Because that gives them information about what's going on inside the body. They check your pulse at your wrist, but not one place like we do in conventional medicine. 3 places at your right wrist and 2 different depths. 3 places at your left wrist and 2 different depths. 12 pulses, each one assigned to something that is going on inside the body. They will ask you to extend your tongue, and they will take a look and see, is it thick, is it thin, is it trembling, is it scalp? Again, more information about the body, and then they will offer you an individualized treatment, because if your chi, if your energy is balanced, all of your systems will function better, and you will respond even better, perhaps, to the treatment with fewer side effects. So to be honest with you, one of the most consistent recommendations that we offer to our patients is to look into acupuncture. Here in the States, acupuncture is rarely covered by insurance, but a more affordable way to explore acupuncture is literally in a small group. So you can have 4 or 5 people, sometimes even more, in a small group in these COVID days, socially distanced. You don't have to get disrobed. The practitioner usually treats only the front of the body, and they usually have the room a little bit cool. There's music playing, you get to meet other people, so there's that community aspect of care. And it's just as effective as one-on-one acupuncture, and usually about 1/3 of the price. Another thing that can be beneficial for you with regards to helping you move after procedure, or if you have a port in place and being cautious about that, is working with an oncology certified massage therapist. Now, a lot of us look at massage as an indulgence, but I'm not talking about it in that way. This is a therapeutic intervention that can be very beneficial. If for no other reason, when the door closes, when you're lying on that massage therapy table, you get to shut out a lot of the noise. And this is just about you receiving a different kind of healing, because human touch when it is appropriately applied, is very healing. And again, you get that opportunity in the midst of all the craziness of appointments, etc., to pause and simply receive a different kind of healing. You do want to work with an oncology certified massage therapist, because a lot of massage therapists, as good as they are, may not have training about what areas to stay away from with a person with this type of cancer or this type of cancer. What do we do with a port in place? What do we do when they're post-op, etc.? So look for somebody who's oncology certified. Usually those folks are on the internet with that designation. And then we also, in our space, we offer yoga therapy, but it is yoga therapy. So I'm not advocating that regardless of where you are in the journey, that you go out and join a yoga class, because you'll be treated just like everybody else. The idea about this approach is really about being centered, and almost anybody can do yoga, because it can be just breathing exercises. It can be very gentle twists. It can be very gentle ways to increase our range of motion of our arms or our legs. It's really gentle, but a lot of it is about flexibility, not just of body, but of mind and spirit as well. It can be very gentle, but it should be individualized so that you are not placing yourself at risk or hurting yourself in any way, shape, or form. So looking for a yoga therapist can also be beneficial in helping you to move. If you are able to move on a free basis, walking is one of the best things that you can do, because it gets us outdoors oftentimes. We can do it with a friend or a small group community. You don't have to necessarily run in order to get the benefits. In fact, you can start off relatively slowly if you like. 5 minutes is still 5 minutes more exercise than perhaps we were getting before. And then you can increase that. You might even go a little faster one day. You might even throw in some intervals where you're walking a little bit quicker for about 20 seconds and then walk slowly for a minute. A little quicker for 20 seconds and a little slower. Why do the intervals? It actually kind of tricks our body into thinking that we're actually exercising for longer than we really are. We talked a little bit about diet. We talked a little bit about exercise. Another thing that comes up very commonly is vitamin supplements and herbs. Now, there are many, many different agents out there, and there are only a few that we actually get behind when talking with folks about what they might do during treatment and after. During treatment is a different consideration than following treatment. During treatment, there are some concerns, for example, that antioxidants in high dosages like vitamin C, vitamin E, even turmeric is an antioxidant. There is a concern that antioxidants may interfere with certain forms of chemotherapy, and even more concerns that it may interfere with radiation therapy. So yes, we want you to get your antioxidants from diet, from vegetables and fruits and things of that nature, but it may not be the right time during treatment to actually take antioxidant supplements. One of the other things that was brought up, we were talking about clinical trials just a little while ago. You want to be honest and upfront with your clinicians about what it is you're thinking about taking and doing, because if you are taking a vitamin or supplement or something of that nature, that may throw in another variable into the midst of this clinical trial that they can't control for, and that might really interfere with what you're trying to do with the clinical trial, and also what the clinicians are trying to do with learning about what can be beneficial or not. So we want to be very, very careful about using any vitamin or supplement or herb during a clinical trial. Again, making certain that you are sitting across from somebody you can be honest and upfront with about what it is you're doing. Let's take a little turn here for just a second. Every once in a while, I will meet with a person who says they have a really good oncologist, but they just don't have a good relationship with them, but what can they do? This is a difficult concept, but the reality is that you are in charge. When we are patients and sitting across from the doctor, even in the midst of treatment, if that doctor is not meeting us on our value system, or somehow doesn't feel like we're connected, remember that folks are just folks. And sometimes that just happens. It's not a judgment. It's not ill will, anything of that nature. You have the opportunity. In fact, you have the right, and you really should take a look and see, is there somebody else that you could work with? Almost all the oncologists that I work with have no problem with that whatsoever. They just want you better. And so if you're going to be better, if you connect better with this person over here, or you click better with this colleague over here, they will not have a problem with that. What's important is that you are comfortable and that you can move forward safely. Some of the vitamins and supplements that come up a lot, just so that you know about, that you might look up: vitamin D3, turmeric we mentioned just a little while ago. It is a potent antioxidant. It also thins the blood a little bit like aspirin. And so during chemotherapy, if your platelet counts are dropping, it's something we want to be very cautious about. You can eat curry dishes, but you may not want to take the supplement. There are medicinal mushrooms out there like maitake, reishi, something called turkey tail, because it looks like a turkey's tail out in the wild. These are very interesting and might be good for you. However, if you are receiving immunotherapy, these medicinal mushrooms seem to work specifically on certain portions of the immune system, and we don't know if they play well with different forms of immunotherapy. So again, you want to be a little bit cautious about these things. A resource you might like to know about that you can look up online, it is not free. It costs about $40, $45 a year, but it's really good. It's called Consumer Lab. So it's CONSUMERLAB, as in boy, lab. So Consumer Lab, CONSUMERLAB, Consumer Lab. And what Consumer Lab does is it takes products off the shelves and sees if what's on the label actually matches what's inside the pill or the liquid. It's still largely a buyer beware market when it comes to vitamins, supplements, and herbs out there. So having this kind of guidance towards quality product, along with very good write-ups about the various supplements and herbs, can be invaluable to you. We talked about reducing inflammation and using diet, but stress and stress management is another way to make that happen. And one of the best ways to do that is what you're doing today, which is coming together in community. In a day and age where we can connect with people all across the globe with the push of a finger, people have never been quite so isolated before, especially with regards to the COVID era. Coming together in some way, shape, or form, having that human connection, being able to share our stories, even if we're not speaking, sometimes makes all the difference in the world and lets us know that we're not alone on this journey. There are many different ways to help manage stress. You have to find out what works for you, but we want them to be healthy choices. Exercise is one of the single best ways to manage stress, to manage depression, to manage anxiety. Better than almost any prescription that we can offer for anyone. So movement works. Being in community works. I'm actually a really big fan of good support groups like this one. I underscore good because there are some support groups that just manage to bring us down rather than bringing us up. And so you got to find the good ones out there. You want to be engaged in other kinds of activities too that are more life affirming. Remember, we don't want your 24/7 to be your health to the extent that that is possible. We want you engaged in life and those things that remind you of life and that inspire and invigorate, that give you a sense of meaning and purpose beyond when this is all behind you. And that exploration is critically important too. There's journaling, there's meditation, there's all different things that can be done in this regard. But one of the things that I like about meditation, specific forms like mindfulness, is that many of the people I meet with who have done very, very well, about a month before their next scan or next set of blood tests, whatever, start getting a little antsy. And so we talk about mindfulness as a practice. Now, you may have heard about mindfulness. This is a practice that is borrowed from Buddhism, but is not a religious practice at all. It is about being in this moment. The experts speak about this and say, the past is gone, there's nothing we can do about it. 90+% of what we worry about in the future is not going to happen, but human nature is such that we worry about it anyway. So the only part of all of that we can actually control is this present moment, and this next one, and this next one. The idea being, whether it's a really great moment or a really bad moment, to experience it, to process it, to be fully aware and alert with it, and then to let it go. To not place undue judgment or meaning to anything that happened in that moment. It just is. And so for folks who have completed their treatment or are in the midst of their treatment, or going for their next scan, whatever, in this moment, odds are pretty good that you're either in the midst of appropriate and helpful treatment, or you're doing pretty well after all of this. And there's every reason to believe that the next studies are going to be okay. and the same thing in this next moment, and the same thing in this next moment. Some great apps available on your phone or computer out there, like Insight Timer is one of my favorites, Headspace, Calm. While sometimes they charge for some of the guided meditations that they offer, there are many that are free as well. And, I'm not the kind of person who does a 40-minute meditation, but I will sit for 1 minute when I've got a crazy day going on. I might start my day with 5 minutes or end my day with 5 minutes. It all depends. And you be gentle with yourself in this regard with how you want to explore these things. All of these things we're talking about, they're reasonable options, but they're not mandatory, which leads me to the last thing that I want to offer for you. Now, I have been through internship, residency, medical school, 2 fellowships, and I never got this, what I'm about to share with you through there. I learned this from the people I've had the honor to sit across from. The centerpiece of healing, the centerpiece of healing is kindness. But in this regard, it's kindness towards ourselves. We usually struggle with this because we equate that with being selfish. You're not going to be selfish, but you might act in some ways that are more self-sustaining, that are more self-supportive. The same goes for the significant others involved in the care. For your significant other, if they're invited out to get a cup of coffee or something like that, they might feel like, well, I'm not leaving. No. But every once in a while, it's really important that they do that. So when they come back, they've got more juice in reserve so they can actually be better for you. But for you who are going through or who have gone through treatment, be gentle with yourself. Be kind with yourself. Offer yourself additional cushion. Some of the folks that I've met with say an extraordinary thing, and I'll leave you with this. They say, Russ, in a weird way that I wouldn't wish on anybody, having cancer was a gift. So I look at them quizzically, and they share with me that it has permitted them to say no to some things that they wouldn't have said no to before, and to say yes to some things that they wouldn't have permitted themselves to agree to in the past. So may you say yes to life-affirming things. May you say yes to the things that feed your spirit, your mind, your body, your family, your community, and your environment, and use them together with the good conventional medical care that you are getting. All these things that we were speaking about, any one of them might be a benefit for you. Please do not act upon more than 2 at one time, because otherwise it adds to that overwhelm that we were speaking about. I hope that this was of some service to you. It is simply an honor to be before you. I wish you all well, and I just greatly appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Russ. We really appreciate your being here. And I think that you're exactly right. Learning to be kind to ourselves. We can't change what was yesterday. And it's just really a lot of it. And it's really brutal. And I get so much out of having a sense of community. And I know that this is really where my heart is and what makes a big difference. I have a quick question if you have a sec.
I sure do.
And we might have a couple others meandering around. And this is going to be, I can only have you speak to it in general terms, but many of us, whether we're on a clinical trial or on any sort of treatment or whatever, it seems like this mysterious liver function is a nonstop battle for us. I mean, is there anything from an integrative point of view that we can be doing?
Yeah, so a lot of folks who go to the internet will read about things like milk thistle or schizandra berries or dandelion tea. These are all things that are used by some folks to try and maintain optimal liver function and to protect the liver. And remember that something that has an action in the body can also have an interaction in the body. And so because of that, we just ask you, depending on the treatment that you are receiving, talk with your oncologist, talk with the pharmacist, if you can, about making certain that these kinds of things might be safe for you. Aside, because remember, all these different things we're talking about, the only thing that my colleagues get upset about when talking about this kind of stuff is when you're talking about pills. We're talking about vitamins, supplements, and herbs. All the rest of the stuff, yeah, we're all in. And so you just want to remember, safety is the bottom line. We want you to be safe. We don't want to be working against the therapy. Some of these agents actually act on the way that the liver metabolizes certain drugs. And so if you're taking something and the herb or supplement actually increases drug metabolism, you may not be getting as much benefit from your treatment. So yes, those things are out there. You might look into them, but you want to keep everybody on the same page. Again, I share with you that if you come to your doctor and you say, hey, can we talk about milk thistle? And they're like, all this stuff, acupuncture, milk thistle, all this kind of, it's just who he just listened to me. That's when you ask your friends, do you know another doctor? Because you want to be able to work with somebody who is going to be open to anything and everything that might be of benefit to you. There are also a lot of intriguing studies suggesting that Chinese medicine, specifically acupuncture, may help in this setting as well. And so those types of things can be really beneficial. You'll read about all manner of alternative therapies out there. And this is another area that could be spoken about for quite some time. And so whether we're talking about hyperbaric therapy or we're talking about saunas or different kinds of things, some of them might be beneficial, but some of them might not be and might even be dangerous. And so the idea is, how do you discern between what is safe and something I should do, what looks like something that's promising but might be early, what is promising but may have some risk, and what is a waste of time or might at worst be dangerous. And so you want to work with somebody who can help you navigate through those types of things. Most areas around the globe now have some folks who can speak to integrative therapies and all. If not, there are some great resources out there, even on the internet, whether it be some of the great university settings that have websites and things of that nature. You can find out this information in reasonably fast terms so that you don't have to wait so long in order to decide whether you're going to use this. But I do encourage you, even though it's nerve-wracking, to speak with your medical team about what you're thinking about using, simply because we want to keep you safe. I usually tell the folks that I meet with, Terry, that if I say, hey, maybe you should take vitamin D and this medicinal mushroom as an example. There's also an herb called astragalus that we sometimes use. We sometimes talk about melatonin. There's all different things out there. If the oncologist comes back and says, I know where Russ is coming from, but I just can't guarantee that those agents are going to play well with the medicines that you're getting right now, they're right. We don't have the data about all of that kind of stuff. And so if I say, hey, you might consider using this, and the oncologist says, I know what Russ is saying, but the problem there is that places us as patients right in the middle. And that's more stress. So the vitamins and supplements are nice ideas, but they're not mandatory. So if ever I run across the oncologist who says, I'd just rather you wait until you're done with treatment to use these, I say, listen to the oncologist, because the vitamins and supplements are nice ideas. They're not mandatory. When you're done with treatment, then we can talk about which ones to use.
It probably pertains as well to anybody who's selling you something, particularly on the website. Just look more than once and talk to your doctor about it, because there are crazy interactions from some of the strangest things. I mean, grapefruit's supposed to be incredibly healthy for you, but it's constantly an interaction on everything
Right.
under the sun. So if anybody has any questions, I'll bring over the microphone to you. Otherwise, we're asking all of our speakers to join in a little kind of like a cheer, if you will, to let us know that you've got part of our community. And so we're doing it with the team, with the folks that are here live, in addition to you. And I was hoping you would participate. Are you game?
I'm ready.
Okay, cool. So we're going to do like a count off, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to say all together, kick cancers, KRAS. Okay. Y'all are ready. Like, this is really good. And I should probably make everybody's like stand up on our feet, but I'm going to do that because I can't sit still. Okay. You ready? And 1, 2, 3. Kick cancers, KRAS. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you all. Everybody be well.
Take care.